Hi and welcome to exercise 3 in our series of videos. Okay, so hopefully you have watched the last video on Cartesian coordinates. If you haven't, then stop what you're doing, go back and watch that, because it will give you a deeper understanding about the coordinate system, and we do need to use it to actually draw the profile of this part. Now, we're going to use a polyline. I'm just going to make sure, everything is set right. I don't have my snap mode on, but my two offending dynamics are off. I do have all of my tabs at the top, and so the only thing I've really got to do is Z space A, enter, just to zoom my drawing sheet in, and I'm good to go. Right, so grab a polyline, bring it down on screen, decide whereabouts on the drawing that you're going to start, and if I just bring in a copy of the drawing, basically I'm going to start down here. Okay, now you can see that this thing has curved corners, but those are just fillet commands. And these two here, we've already done them on exercise 1, are the chamfer commands. So we could effectively draw this thing very squared. Okay, so it's going around something like I was demonstrating on the Cartesian coordinate video. We could also put these holes in and this square in. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be drawing on a drawing plane aligned with the top edge of this plate. And because we're using these holes in this profile, we will extrude that downwards. And this square, we will extrude that one upwards. And together, we'll actually get the whole thing assembled, and we will union these parts to the one complete piece. Okay, so just going to move that out of the way. Grab my polyline, and like I said, I'm just going to pick a point from there, and then I can use my Cartesian coordinates. The first one, I'm going to go up 4. Okay, so from there it's going to be at 0 in the x, comma 4, enter. Then I'm going to come across in the x, so it's going to be at, and the distance is 3, comma 0, because I don't want to go up. I'm coming down an inch. Okay, so that will be at 0, comma minus 1. And then I'm going to go across, I think it's 2.5 inches it is. So I'm going to do at 2.5 in the x, comma 0, and that puts my line up there. So I could continue round, literally tracing this thing round, remembering when I get to this point that I sieve close. Alternately, and you might have figured this out by now, or some of you that might have used AutoCAD before will know that if I have the command on, which is this one here, which is polar tracking, when I go to a horizontal or a vertical line, it throws this green trace straight out in the line in front of me. Okay, so I'm going to change it up a little bit now and show you something else. If you get that trace going downwards, and I know that that piece has to be 2 inches deep, if I drag it in this general direction, I enter 2, then enter, it will also give me that directional coordinate. So if I go there, for example, even though you can see I'm only 1 inch away from that corner, if I enter with that green line going shooting off to the side, 2.5, it will give me a line that's 2.5. Now you might say, why am I teaching you about the coordinates? Well, you do need to know about it, because not only are we going to use coordinates to draw stuff, we're also going to use coordinates when we get to the programming side of the plasma. Imagine this is a cut path. Okay, so 1, enter, then C, enter, would close that one up nicely. Right, next thing we're going to do. The holes in the object are 1, and that would be 1 inch away. That would be a 2-inch, that would be a 1-inch rad on the fillets. So I'm just going to go up and get the fillet command and enter R, enter, and 1, enter, because I've set a 1-inch fillet. And now I'm just going to go left clicky on the top line, left clicky on the back line. So right click your mouse key, repeat fillet, and then click the back one and then the bottom one, and we get those two in. Now once you've got an arc, you can find a center. So I'm just going to go to my circle command, come down near that edge, and immediately I get near that arc, you see the center point comes in. So I can click that, and because it is a 1-inch diameter and I've got my snap on, I just move out 1 click and left click. So circle again, down to that arc, find the center point, left click, move it out 1 section, left click again. So that's around about done, apart from the 2 chamfers. Let's go up to the fillet command again. Remember that this is a toggle between 2 of the commands. If you hit the downward caret on the right hand side where it says fillet, you'll find that the other option, or other 2 options, but the one we want is chamfer, is directly underneath, so we'll left click that. And if you look down there, just to remind you, with a chamfer we need 2 distances. So we can either click on that little word down there, distance, or enter the D, then enter. And then we're going to do a 0.5, enter, 1, enter. And that would mean that we've got our 2 chamfer distances set, 0.5 and 1. Now it's important the order you click them. So we'll go to this end piece here on the right and left click it, and then go to this upper piece and left click that. To repeat the command, like normal, right click on the mouse, then click repeat chamfer with the left button, and then 1/2 inch is going to be this end, so left click and left click on the bottom. And that's our profile done. You'll also see that because we've got no other additions and we haven't trimmed anything out, it is completely enclosed, so it should be ready to extrude when we're ready. So the last thing to put on is the square, and even though I think on the drawing it doesn't precisely position it, I just didn't want to put too many dimension inlines on there. If we go up to the rectangle command, this is a 1 by 1 block. So we're going to go up to this corner, come down 1/2 inch and click, and it's a 1 by 1 square, and these are 1/2 inch clicks on the grid. So 1, 2 across, and 1, 2 down, and left click again, and that will give us our 1-inch square right in the center. Now I'm going to turn this over because we're about to extrude it. I'm going to extrude the square upwards and the holes and the profile downwards. So click the orbit command, bring it on screen, hold the left mouse key down and turn that over so you can see that's the drawing plane. I'm just going to turn that over at a bit of an angle so I can see it's going in the right direction. Okay, right click and exit. So we need to go to our 3D tools, click on that, and then third option across is extrude, and we click on that. Now we're going to extrude this 1 block 1 inch upwards. Okay, so it's the 1 by 1 block, and then I right click and enter. I pull it in this upward direction, and it doesn't really matter which direction you pull it, but and I'm going to enter 1, then enter. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. I could repeat the command by going through there, but I'm just going to click on the button anyway. Select the two circles, left click, and a third left click on the outside. So I've got that whole group selected. Right click and enter. And this time the drawing says to go down by 0.5. Well, again, Cartesian coordinates. Is 0.5 in a downwards a positive or a negative? It's a negative. So it is negative 0.5 and enter. Now I'm just going to grab the orbit so that I can show you it's sitting either side of the drawing plane, but basically that is a completed model. Now the one thing we're adding this time is we don't want this block completely separate, so if you grab it, it just flies off. We want to join it to this block here. Now to join this block to this block, you use the union command, and the union command is at the top of the Boolean operations. Okay, so I click on union, it says select the objects, it's that one and that one, and enter. Now that might not look as though it's made a difference, but if I get near that, you'll notice even on the outside profile now, if I get near it, it flashes up, but it also includes the block. These are completely joined now. That's the way they should be. Last thing we've got to do is go to the subtract command like we've used before. We left click this whole profile we just joined together. We right click, and then we take out the two holes and right click again. Okay, so now if we visualize, go to our realistic, you'll see that we have the block completely finished. If it's better for you to actually do it in realistic so you can see the thing forming, I have a problem with the holes not being visible, so I tend to do it in wireframe because I know it's going to work. If you want to turn it on, just be very, very careful when you select this hole, because you might be selecting the underside of this model here by mistake. So just be careful if you're going to do it with the shading on, so to speak. But that's our project done. That's exercise 3. We're adding commands as we go. We're using commands in different ways. I hope you're having fun. If you have any problems, then just get in contact with us. Talk to you later. See you in exercise 4. Bye.